Here's some fun Texas trivia for you. You've already paid for both private political parties' internal elections. Sure, you were invited as long as you agree to belong to the party and pay for the privilege. That's not open elections. That is pay to play with extra steps. And if you choose to vote in a primary election, congratulations. You've just been drafted into a party whose ideology you may not fully agree with. No oaths, no benefits, and they still charged you for the parking. Because nothing says freedom like a taxpayer-funded loyalty test for private clubs. Here's the official line that they tell you. Primaries are democracy in action. They give voters a choice. They strengthen participation. Sounds wholesome. Sounds civic. Sounds like Norman Rockwell painted it. But no. It's simply relabeling a corporate board meeting to a town hall because someone brought donuts. Primaries aren't elections. They're internal HR interviews for two political corporations, and somehow you're the one paying the recruiter, whether you get the job or not. Here's the scam that nobody explains. When you vote in a Texas primary, you think you're picking the best candidate for November in this race, and another candidate in that race. But if you look for a candidate you like in a third race and that candidate is in a different party, you're just SOL, because in reality, you're only helping one private club decide who gets to represent their brand. If you vote in one party's primary, it is illegal to vote in a different party's primary during the same election cycle. Didn't know that? Most voters don't. And the major parties like it that way because informed consent is bad for business. That's why campaign ads right now sound like hostage videos. Candidates aren't competing against each other. They're competing to prove that they're the most Republican, or the most Democrat, or, my personal favorite, least likely to think independently. It's not persuasion. It's ideological drag season, and this is their audition tape. This is the part where the pendulum swings, because during the primaries, Republicans sprint directly towards dictatorial authoritarianism, and Democrats sprint towards managerial paternalism. Everyone exaggerates the costume, screams loyalty slogans, and then tries to pass the purity tests. Everyone plays to the loudest 8% of voters, and then magically, after the election in March, bippity-boppity-boo, the same candidates spend 8 months backpedaling. What I really meant was, that's not leadership. That's political catfishing. And again, you funded the audition. You funded the performance. You even funded the walkback because you paid for the premium subscription. No cancel button. It's like paying taxes so that Netflix can decide which Fast and Furious sequel gets greenlit. Now, say it with me. Private party, public money, zero accountability. Say it once, calmly. Say it again later with disgust. And then say it one last time as the closer because, as any Madison Avenue insider will tell you, repetition equals product recognition. Here's the Libertarian position, and it's really not that radical. If your organization is private, act like it. You want a political party? Great. Run it, fund it, own it. But don't send the bill to the people who, 1, weren't members, 2, don't agree with you, or 3, didn't consent to join. That's not democracy. That's duopoly entitlement warfare. Libertarians and other non-establishment parties hold their own party-funded primaries at in-person party conventions with membership-paid nomination processes. And for the record, I'm not accepting political donations, because if I'm going to talk about respecting taxpayer money, then I'd be a hypocrite to be complaining about taxpayer abuse while shaking the same collection plate. So let's rewind. Why did you pay for a party meeting that you weren't invited to? Because while the red gang and the blue gang both scream at each other on TV, when it comes to protecting the machine, they spoon. I guarantee people will ask me, where were you during the primaries? Well, here I am, right here, talking to the voters, not just party members, exposing the illusion, refusing the ideological drag show costume change, and the obligatory audition tape. Because democracy doesn't start in November, and it sure as hell doesn't belong to 2 taxpayer-funded private clubs using taxpayer-funded bouncers. So let me ask you, why are Texans paying for party elections that they don't belong to, and didn't consent to, and still calling it freedom? Argue in the comments, and share this with someone who still thinks the primaries are just voting.